Well, once we got that news, we had a Houston police officer that came to my grandmother's house to kind of let us know what took place. That was my first time having an interaction with a police officer, and that gentleman was so professional, so empathetic that it impacted me in ways that I didn't realize at the time. And it really set me on a path to kind of say, hey, I want to do what he's doing, not deliver that bad news, but just somebody that's compassionate in that way. I don't know, that moment really changed my life, for a number of reasons. Obviously, I lost my dad, but it also set me on a path to get into law enforcement.
Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
You're listening to the Black and Blue Podcast, a discussion and celebration of the roles of African Americans and other minorities in U.S. law enforcement. Your host on the Black and Blue Podcast is Dale Peters, a law enforcement professional with over 20 years experience in the business. Hop on board this Black and Blue train of interviews, current events, and pop culture conversations. So get ready. The Black and Blue Podcast is coming at you right now. What up, Black and Blue fam? Welcome to the latest edition of the Black and Blue Podcast, where we celebrate diversity in U.S. law enforcement. My name is Dale, and I'm the host. If you're new to the show, thank you for checking it out. We have a lot of fun on this show with a little bit of education sprinkled in. If you're a returning patron of the show, I want to thank you too. I certainly can't keep this thing going without your support. If you want to help the show to continue to grow so I can continue bringing fun and entertaining content, click those like, subscribe, and bell icons right down here on my YouTube channel. And if you're listening to me on your podcast platform of choice, please rate the Black and Blue Podcast 5 stars. And finally, check me out on any one of my social media pages for even more content. You can find me everywhere at Black and Blue US. All right, so today's guest is the Chief of Police of a school district police department in the great state of Texas. And with everything that's going on down there lately, I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about. So everybody, let's give a huge Black and Blue welcome to Klein, Texas Independent School District Police Department Chief Marlon Runnels. How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. How's it going, Bill? I am excited to be here. I'm in the presence of greatness, so I'm blessed.
I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that. How's your day shaping out today?
It's going well. I just finished up a meeting with several of our officers. We had our back to school meeting, so we lined out some strategic priorities as we get ready to welcome our kids back to school next week. Okay.
Is school back in session already?
August the 10th, we welcome our kids, and it has been fast and furious as we kind of pivoted and strategized on what our opening is going to look like on the heels of Uvalde.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's coming around, and man, we got a lot to talk about. Like I mentioned, you were out in Texas, a school district out in Texas. Where is Klein, Texas, for everybody that doesn't know that?
Absolutely. So Klein, or the Klein ISD, is in the greater Houston area. Okay. We are on the northern part of Houston, Harris County. So we have about 88 square miles, and we run from an area called the Woodlands all the way down to an area called Acres Home. So we have a pretty large footprint here in Klein.
Okay. And how large is the department?
We have over 60 sworn officers, 125 crossing guards, about 13 dispatchers, 5 parking lot monitors. So we have folks that watch the parking lots for us during the days. We have mega 6A high schools in our district, and we service about 54,000 students, over 7,000 employees. So we're a huge operation.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, 60 sworn, that's about as large as some small departments wherever they are. 60 sworn is a good number.
Yes, sir.
And how long you been there?
So my story is a little different. So I came to Klein back in 2008. I was here about eight 8 or 9 years. Got promoted to the rank of sergeant, and then I had an opportunity to leave for a short period, become chief of police in a smaller school district a little north of here called Montgomery ISD. So I was chief there for about 3.5 years. Opportunity came here in Klein ISD for me to be the assistant chief of police, and so I came back in 2020, taking on that responsibility, and I was fortunate and blessed enough on July 1st to take the helm as chief of police here in Klein. So again, my journey is a little fragmented, but it's my journey, it's my story, and I'm glad to celebrate it.
Absolutely, and we'll talk about that journey as well. Are you a Texas native?
Oh, absolutely, and particularly, I'm a Houston homer, and so
Okay.
in Texas, you either live in the Houston area, the Dallas area, Central Texas, Austin, and so I am Houston all the way. Rockets, Texans, our soccer team, Astros, you name it. I love it. I bleed it. I celebrate.
I'm sorry for that, man. You know, especially
You know
your
what?
Astros, how they did my Dodgers a few years back,
Oh
but
man,
we
so we
won't get
gonna
into
go
that.
there, huh? I thought we were friends. I thought we were friends, man.
Yeah, like I said, we won't get into that. And then you guys had that issue with Deshaun, and now he's out of there. He's over in Cleveland now, so I
Oh
don't
my
know what those Texans
goodness.
gonna do.
They just can't get right. They
No,
just
nope,
can't get right.
nope. And they lost JJ, and man, it's just all bad.
But I'm an optimist by nature, so I know our future is gonna be bright. We just got to get through these very tumultuous,
Okay,
dark periods we're going through. So
glass half full kind of guy, right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So you've been with Klein ISD for a while, and then you said you left for a little while, and then you came back. What's your journey into law enforcement? Had you always wanted to be in law enforcement? Why'd you choose an ISD route as opposed to a municipality?
So I can tell you, before I actually started this law enforcement journey, I was a detention officer at our sheriff's department, and so I did that for a while. Went to their academy. I got hurt in the academy, and they sent me back to the jail. And I didn't want to wait another 1.5 years to get back on the list to go to the academy. And so what I did was I went to an outside academy at one of our colleges down here in Texas. Did that and completed the police academy. Got an opportunity to work for one of our municipal agencies just north of Houston. Got there, and that's when I realized I identified that when you pick a job, it has to be a good fit, not only for the agency, but for the individual. And so when I took that
Yep.
job at that municipal agency, I realized it wasn't a good fit for me. And so I was there about 3 months, and then I resigned and took a position in another neighboring county as a sheriff's deputy. And that's really where I was first introduced to school-based policing, because I had an opportunity to go into their SRO program. I didn't take it, but I was informed about school-based policing at that time, and it really struck a chord with me. And so I had an opportunity to then take the position here in Klein ISD, which is a little closer to home. I was actually driving, you won't believe this, man. I was driving about 1.5 hours to get to
Oh,
work every day for that agency. But I enjoyed what I was doing. But if I had an opportunity to get a little closer to home, and so I took it. And that's really when I came into the fold of Klein ISD as an officer. And once I did the school base, I was introduced to school-based policing. I knew that it was my call, and I knew this is where I needed to be. And so I really haven't looked back at that point. I kind
yeah.
of put my head down, got focused, learned as much as I could, and I've done some really great things in my career.
Absolutely. And for the viewers and the listeners, kind of what's the differences between school-based policing and a municipal police department?
So in Texas, we have all kind of layers of law enforcement, and one segment is school-based policing. So our authority is granted from our school boards. So in Texas, the school boards have the authority to create their own police forces, and we have several across the state. There are over 1,000 school districts in Texas, and I want to say we have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 700 ISD police departments. So we have quite a few here in Texas.
Nice, nice. And so as a school-based police officer and law enforcement officer, what are kind of the duties and the differences between the two?
So when you work for a municipal agency, you're typically kind of call responsive. You're running from call to call. You're having those interactions with the public, running traffic. Working in the schools is a little different because your primary focus is the safety and security of the people inside the school and any particular school function. And so that may take you outside the confines of a school building. It may be you're following a team on a field trip or something like that. But you have the same arrest authority as a sheriff's deputy or a municipal officer. You're just centrally focused around the issues of school safety.
Absolutely. And, like I said in the intro, there's been a lot of focus on school safety lately, especially what happened down there in Texas in Uvalde. How far is that from Klein, from where you are?
I want to say Uvalde's about 4.5 hours from us.
Okay. Yeah. And Texas is a big state. So
you literally can spend a whole day driving across Texas. It takes, just in Harris County alone, it'll take you over an hour to get from one end to the other.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it. I believe it. So, with all the things that happen in Uvalde, what are some of the takeaways that you got from that? Something about the, you guys' responses to incidents like that. Were you guys already on top of those sort of things? Kind of let's talk about that.
Well, historically, we've always had a culture where training is always a priority. And so we have about 13 alert instructors on staff, which is more than most agencies, more than some of the larger agencies, believe it or not. But we have 13 of those instructors, and their role is to respond in active shooter responses. We don't have, it's not a SWAT team, but in Texas, they've developed the alert model, the Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training, so they can standardize what a solo response or a group response looks like should an active shooter event happen in a school or a similar facility. And we have 13 of those folks on staff. We've been training for this for years, well before the Uvalde incident, well before if you go back to Santa Fe and any number of other incidents that's happened, horrible incident that's happened. So we have that kind of culture here, and the previous chief embedded that in us, and it's something that I intend to continue.
Absolutely. And have you guys had a need to activate those alert teams or any incidents in Klein?
We haven't had an incident to the level of an active shooter response, but we did have a major incident where we thought an IED was set off in one of our buildings. It ended up not being the case, but we had a similar response, and I can say we were very, very proud of our response and the collaboration from not just our agency, but our local fire partners, our local constables, our local sheriff's department. We set up and got our kids out safely and conducted the investigation, and that's when we realized, okay, this was kind of like a false alarm, but it gave us an opportunity to kind of reflect on our capabilities, and we're very proud with the way we responded in that situation.
Yep. And another takeaway that we all got from Uvalde was communication with parents. What's your relationship with sharing information during an active shooter event or any major event?
Well, you have to be as transparent as the investigation will allow you to be, right? Always keeping in mind that there are certain nuances and details that you may not be an appropriate time to share out at the moment that they want it, but you try to give them as much as they can and put them at ease. That's paramount in anything you do. And our district does a really good job of really trying to build a robust communications component. We have good systems in place, and if an incident occurred, we're going to get out front and try to address it head on. If a mistake was made, we're going to own it. If there's opportunities to make improvements, we're going to look at those opportunities and try to find put an implementation plan in place to address it.
Yep. And another component to this whole model is identifying threats, before they happen. There's only so much you can do with people from the outside, but what sort of programs do you have to identify, maybe students that may be involved in stuff like this?
Well, obviously, you know, we encourage all of our students and staff to wear their ID tags, you know, throughout the school day, so you can easily identify who should be in the building and who shouldn't. But in addition to that, and I think this is a more robust attack, if you will, in Texas, most of our school districts utilize behavior threat assessments. And so if we see a kid who may be in crisis or a kid who is displaying some concerning behaviors, we can have a multidisciplinary team conduct a behavior threat assessment to give us a better course of action moving forward on how we need to support that particular student or address the behaviors that may be presenting. So that's something we're really proud of here in Texas, and something that every district is working to continue to build and make improvements to.
Yep. And now they're all on social media. I mean, they've been on social media for a while, and when you see a lot of these after action reports, is that these suspects put a lot of manifestos or just post online. And, you know, that's the tough part, is actually monitoring that sort of stuff, you know, because we need help from the public and from the providers as well, that, you know, this sort of stuff is going online, so that we as law enforcement can investigate that and follow up, right?
Absolutely. We have a team of cyber investigators on staff, and not only do we have two, we're growing a third one internally, but we have strong partnerships with our sheriff's department and constables. And so if there are resources that we need, we can tap in, we can reach out to them and they'll tap in and support us. But in addition to that, we have a Keep Klein Safe tab on every one of our web pages, and we push that out and promote it. So if someone sees some concerning behaviors, they have an avenue to report it. And most times people don't want to share that they're the one pass that information along. So it's an anonymous tool. And when they put that information up there, somebody's always at the ready to kind of check it. And rest assured, when we get those kinds of tips, you know, we're a full service agency. We work 24 hours a day. It can be 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. We get that tip. We're going to send someone to someone's house to kind of vet that information and make sure we don't have someone coming in our schools that shouldn't be in our schools.
Yep. Love to hear that. So yeah, you know, school-based policing, you know, is kind of different from municipal, but kind of has the same aspects as well, you know, providing a service and public safety and all that sort of stuff. What do you like most about it? You said, you know, it's kind of your calling when you first got into it.
The fact that you can see the fruits of your labor, right? And traditional law enforcement, not so much, because you're running from call to call. When you're working in schools, you can see, you know, certainly if you're in intermediate, you can start building a relationship with a kid, and then that kid moves into high school. You can continue that relationship, and it's just so rewarding to see a kid through their entire educational journey through graduation. So you know you've had those conversations with them. You know that they're going to go out and be a productive citizen. You know that your little part has made a big impact in the life of somebody. I have countless stories of myself and my peers in my agency where we've made that kind of impact. There's one in particular where we had a young man who was in high school. Family circumstances were not that great. Brothers were involved in gang activity. He subsequently got into a gang. And our officers down at that particular high school were very deliberate in working with this kid. And so much so that he started to pull away from those bad influences. He turned a corner when some unfortunate circumstances happened in his life. One of his brothers was shot. And he really started to focus in on us because we were pouring into this kid, right? We were letting him know, hey, you have great potential. You don't have to be a statistic in a circumstance, you know, a victim of the circumstances that you're in. You can do better. And I'm proud to say that young man ultimately became a police officer. And he attributes that to the dedication that myself and my team of officers had on that campus. So it's just situations like that. And again, there are countless others that just let me know that I'm in the right place, doing the right things. And I'm fortunate because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke off air. I told you that, you know, I was a school resource officer in SRO, and I just came out a couple weeks ago after spending 4 years at a high school here in my agency. And yeah, I love seeing that, you know, the interaction with the kids. I mean, and that's what a lot of it is especially now since 2020, you know, all the ill feelings towards police, but building those relationships with them so that, once they're outside of those four walls of the school and they see a police officer, they don't necessarily have those same feelings, right?
Certainly, certainly. So one additional thing we did this school year was when I took over, I was like, we need to have an open house. We have a very nice police station, but people don't know what we do, right? They don't know the resources that we have or the resources that we need. And so I made it a point to have an open house. We had it earlier this week, and it was pretty well attended, amongst our officers and members of the community. Just another way for us to make connections with the people that we're serving, making those positive deposits, because we all know there may come a time where an officer makes a mistake or a poor decision, and I don't want whatever that incident to be reflected badly across our entire department. I want people to say, that may have occurred, but that's not a representation of this department. They are professional, they are our friends, they're allies. And if that did happen and that mistake did occur, I don't want them to really have a bad taste in their mouth about all of our officers. We work really, really hard to try to make sure that is the case. Again, going back to your point on building those relationships, we created a program called the Leadership Academy. And so our officers partner with our school counselors. We meet with kids every week in a restorative setting, and we go over this curriculum that we designed. Again, just finding ways to make connections, making those positive deposits in our kids. And we go through this the entire school year, and we have a big celebration for them at the end of the school year. Really a big deal down here, and so much so we had the state created a grant and wanted us to teach it across the state. So
okay,
we're really proud of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me ask you though. Back in 2020, when all these incidents came to light, and George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and all those sort of things, and then the feelings towards police and police in schools. A lot of sentiment was to pull police departments out of school, police officers out of schools. Did you guys have any of that feeling down there in your district?
Not in our district. I'm fortunate, right? Our community truly does support us. Now, were there people who probably had siloed conversations about that? I'm pretty sure, but as a whole, not so much. We are very deliberate in doing the things that gives the confidence our community needs to know that we are a resource, we're an ally. And so we really didn't have people calling our school board saying we want Klein PD to be dissolved or defunded or whatever, some of those other agencies had to kind of deal with. It didn't happen. You spoke to the George Floyd incident, and I can tell you on the heels of that, because there's always opportunities, and unfortunate circumstances, there's opportunities to learn, right? And so looking at the George Floyd situation, the previous chief and myself, I was the assistant chief. We called a meeting with our department. We said, hey, let's dive into this situation. Right. When you see this, what are your thoughts on it? And we had some real conversations internally. Not everybody agreed with each other's position, but we created a space where our team can actually have that kind of dialogue. We followed that up with bias training, implicit bias training, because that's another tool that they should be able to utilize in ensuring that they have a certain level of self-awareness, because we make decisions and we don't know why we make those decisions. So if we can impart on them, hey, think through why you feel the way you feel, or why your experiences have shaped you to be the way you are. We thought that was pretty important on the heels of the George Floyd incident.
Yeah, absolutely. And just getting those people to back you, because you're always making those deposits, and your school board sees that, and your community sees that, and in the long run, that's what helps keep them behind you, because they know that you're behind them.
Yes, sir. You never lose sight of your purpose, right? We are here to serve. Never lose sight of that.
Never. So, as a school district police officer, what are kind of the qualifications to get into that job? And for anyone watching and listening, are you guys hiring?
Oh, we are absolutely hiring. We're always looking for good people to be a part of our team. We have a really great culture. I think that's the greatest thing. That's our greatest recruiting tool, is the culture that we've established. In Klein ISD, we have a hashtag called Klein Family. And so anybody that's brought into our fray and our fold are a part of that family. our superintendent recently shared with all of us that, and I didn't know this, we're a small German community in the north part of Houston. German settlers created Klein ISD, and Klein means small. So we like to say that we are the biggest small town that you'll ever come across. And that's something that we kind of celebrate. So if you got any good candidates looking to come to Texas or who are in the Texas area, Klein ISD Police Department is certainly hiring.
What are the kind of the demographics of your school district?
We are primarily Hispanic, has a lion's share of our demographics, then Caucasian, then African American. I think African Americans make up about 17%. Hispanics somewhere to the tune of about 40, roughly.
Okay. Yeah, typical for Texas and Southern California, where I'm out of as well. So yeah, it makes sense. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So as an African American male, do you see people that you came up with, kind of like, hey, Marlon, why are you getting into law enforcement? Back when you decided that you wanted to get in law enforcement, your family, your friends, or was it kind of different for you?
So for me, early on, people in my life knew I had a path. Now I'm gonna circle back. You asked a while ago, kind of what drove me to getting into policing. I didn't share this one part. When I was about 12, my dad was killed playing a basketball game. Actually, unfortunate circumstances. He actually won the basketball game, and a gentleman that he was playing against didn't like that he got taunted, and so he chased my dad down and just took him out in the street. Really, really unfortunate and unnecessary,
wow.
Frankly.
Yeah.
Well, once we got that news, we had a Houston police officer that came to my grandmother's house to kind of let us know what took place. That was my first time having an interaction with a police officer, and that gentleman was so professional, so empathetic, that it impacted me in ways that I didn't realize at the time. And it really set me on a path to kind of say, hey, I want to do what he's doing. Not deliver that bad news, but just somebody that's compassionate in that way. I don't know. That moment really changed my life, for a number of reasons. Obviously, I lost my dad, but it also set me on a path to get into law enforcement.
Yeah, great. And then how soon was it before you got into it? You said you were a detention officer. Was that like right at 18 or?
Yes, I was about 19 when I became a detention officer. But again, speaking to that moment, I was in middle school. So we had a specialized high school here in Houston called the High School for Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice. And so, I talked with my parent or with my mom, and I let her know that, hey, I want to do this. And so they put me in that magnet program. And again, I started to learn more about law enforcement, and I just continued. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. What kind of school is? I mean, I'd never heard of any kind of school like that.
So in Texas, they have high schools that have they have CTE programs, right? But this was called a magnet program. So you can enter a program that introduces you to law enforcement, the performing arts, the medical industry, all specialized high school trades. And so for me, I wanted to get in law enforcement, so I pursued that avenue, and it was a great experience. Met a lot of good friends who are good friends today, and again, obviously, it helped me on my path to where I am presently.
That's a full service 4-year type of high school that,
Yes,
and what sort of curriculum is it? Like, do you march? Do you have to dress in uniforms, or how's that work in that school?
So it was a uniform campus. But you have your normal teach, your normal curriculum that the state pushes out, but they have a specialization where your career path is kind of integrated. So whether you want to go to pursue to be a court assistant, an attorney, a police officer, a corrections officer, it's kind of like the college pathway, but at a high school.
Okay.
Your classes are designed for whatever your interest is. And for me, it was policing, and so I started taking those police-related classes, and it helped me kind of get a better understanding of what my career may look like if I pursued it.
Nice. And did they have sports programs too?
They didn't have sports. So all of our students had to be bused back to your home school, wherever you zone, because we had students from all over Houston attending these specialized magnet schools. But if you wanted to play sports, you had to go back to your home campus. So at the end of the day, you caught the bus back to your home school and play for whatever team you need to play for. For me, my circumstances didn't merit me the ability to play sports. Even though I wanted to, I had to pick up a job to help out around the house.
Okay. Yeah. I can imagine. You got brothers and sisters too that were at home?
I wish, man. My oldest brother, my one brother, passed away in 2017. So right now it's just my mom and I.
Okay. Yeah. Was he your older brother, you said?
He was my older brother. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. But you guys grew up together at, high school.
Oh,
and all
I
that.
have all of the brotherly memories, that I can reflect on and smile about, like everybody else. But yeah, it's just me right now.
Okay. All right. What's the home life for you? Family life?
As busy as ever.
Yeah.
So get this. I have an 18-month-old who is just a joy. I
What?
have a
18-month?
5-year-old. Oh, yeah. Scarlet Grace. Scarlet
Okay.
Grace. I wish I had a picture to put up for you. So we got
Congrats, Chief.
Thank you. I have a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, 16-year-old, and a 19-year-old.
Oh, you got the whole rainbow there, the whole gamut.
Yeah, we like to say we hit reset, So
Yeah.
we got our house is very active, with my kids being involved in sports. They also are in dual language, so both of my boys speak Spanish. My wife is fluent in Spanish, so we have a lot going on in my household.
Good for you. Yeah. So, but it's gonna be a while before you got that quiet household.
It will be a very long while.
Yeah.
But I told you I'm an optimist, so I'm holding out hope. I can't wait to see what that looks like.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I got two of my own, and my youngest is just now going off to college, so we're gonna be empty nesters over here in a minute.
Nice.
Yep. So she's gonna be going to Howard, so we're gonna be dropping her off there in next week, as a matter of fact.
Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate that. So both my two are in college, so we're empty nesters, but you got a long way to go, brother.
Long way to go. I guess it's a good thing I didn't share with you this, but my wife's a therapist, so I got some built-in mental health services to deal with all the chaos in my house. So there's that.
That part that part right there. Yeah. I was going to ask you, what do you like to do in your spare time, but it doesn't sound like you have much of it.
The little bit I do have, my wife and I enjoy going to the movies.
Okay. What's your movie theme of choice?
So my favorite movie of all time has to be the very first Die Hard with Bruce Willis. That's probably my favorite movie. I can watch it as much as time will allow me to. So I enjoy that movie.
Okay. But when the two of you go out together, what do you guys usually look at? Action, romantic comedies? What are you guys doing?
Probably Marvel movies.
Okay, all right. Marvel movies. I know you see the stuff back behind me there. So yeah, I'm a big Marvel and comic book altogether buff. But yeah, that's what's up. I love those movies.
Don't get me started. This segment will go on for hours.
Hey, we got hours, Chief. We got hours, Chief. All right, I appreciate you coming on and talking about everything. Where do you see yourself and your department in the next 5 years?
Oh man, continuing to do great things. One area that has been a strategic priority for me that we've already started working on is building an internal mental health response team for our school district. And so I'm working with our partners in our student wellness and counseling department, reaching out to other districts that have a model that we could emulate or adopt. And so I think that will be like a great source of pride for me once I know we got that off the ground. We're early on in that process, but I'm committed to making sure it happens because the mental health needs it's just too great. We have to do something, and I think this will help us move the needle in the right direction to continue to support our kids and our students.
For sure on that. And you've been chief, a little over a year now or 2 years?
I've been chief all of a month and a few days. September, excuse me, September. I'm saying September. July 1st, I got the official nod. I took over, but the board approved me last May. So I've been the assistant chief here for the last 2 years, and I became chief of police July 1st. But again, this is my second round as chief of police.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as chief of police, what's kind of the most rewarding part of being the chief?
The fact that, growing up, we all had our perceptions of policing, what that should look like. And in recent years, we've seen some issues going on in policing. And so the fact that I have a say in what good policing looks like for my community, right? And I know that I come to work every day and the decisions that I'm making will and are making an impact. I think that is the most rewarding thing, because now I know all these ideas, concepts, beliefs that I had growing up and things I thought I wanted to see, I have the ability to actually bring to the surface and fruition. So that is a great sense of pride for me, that I get to make that kind of impact.
Yep. On the flip side, what's kind of the more challenging part of your job being chief?
Along the same lines, just keeping the troops motivated. The climate that we operate in is not always the best. And so anytime someone is telling you you're doing something wrong, it can be tough to hear. And even more so, if you didn't have a single hand in whatever occurred and people having perceptions about you. Segue to kind of what's happening in Uvalde without diving too deep into it. There was a lot of public outcry with that response. And there are people, who cast a negative light across school-based policing just in general.
Yep.
And so that just reaffirms my commitment and the work that my team is doing. I say you have the ability to shape and change beliefs. So don't take that lightly. Every interaction, make sure it's a positive one. Even if you're breaking bad news or news that someone may not be ready to hear, you can do it in a way that allows them to see you in a professional light and in a respectable light. And so that's a responsibility that you should really take seriously, and I'm pretty certain that my team does.
All right. Great to hear that. All right, Chief, like I said, I appreciate you coming on and giving us some information about you and your department and what ISD police departments do, and especially in Texas. All those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ISD police departments, and all those hundreds and hundreds of miles that you guys got to deal with out there. Yeah, Texas is a big one. Let me tell you, I was just out there back in September for a cousin that got married in Dallas. So,
okay.
and then we drove down to San Antonio. I like Texas. I like San Antonio down there too. It was fun.
It's nice. San Antonio's our nice little getaway right up the freeway. I can get up there in about 2.5 hours and get on back home. So we like to get away to San Antonio as well. Another little nugget before we close out. You may not know this, but school-based policing is the fastest segment of policing, right? The fastest growing segment of policing, which is why there's so many agencies and more just continue to kind of be coming online. We're doing some really great stuff down here. There's a lot of great agencies doing some positive things, working with kids. I know you had Chief Yarbrough on a few months ago. He did some fantastic stuff getting Round Rock off the ground. There's a lot of good things happening in Texas. And again, we're hiring.
Yep. How can they get in touch with you guys if they're looking to look into a profession with you?
Certainly. KleinISD.net. Go to the employment tab. We're right there. Go to the department tab. Look for police. All of my information is up there. But easier is just go on Facebook and look us up, Klein ISD Police Department on Facebook, and connect with us. You'll see all the great things we're doing. We really try to celebrate those things.
There we go. All right, Chief, you are not done yet. Like I told you off air, I got a little bit of trivia for you, so let me set this up for you. This game,
right.
This game that I got for you is called
Black or Blue, 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 Black or Blue. Come on.
All right, Chief, this is my Black or Blue game, and your category today is Netflix and chill. You were talking about you like movies, so this will kind of be in your wheelhouse. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a movie, I'm going to describe a movie to you, and you just tell me, does that movie have the word black in the title or the word blue in the title? Black or blue. That should be pretty simple. So let's get to your first one here, your first movie. Your first show, sorry about that. We're talking about TV shows, Netflix and chills. Your first show here is a group of outsiders takes on the 1980s Old Boys Club of Wall Street. Black or blue?
Oh my goodness. Black?
Black is correct. Yes.
All right.
Black Monday.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of that show with Don Cheadle?
I have. I think, yeah. I think it started on Showtime or something like that.
Yep. Looks like it's over already from 2019 to 2021, but yep, off to a good start there. Your next show, a contemporary smart investigative drama in which the lowly backroom office staff join forces to fight for justice in the corrupt corporate world.
Black.
Oh, that is incorrect. That'll be blue. The Blue Rose.
Okay.
Yeah, some of these shows I never heard of either, Chief.
I've never heard of that one. It's 2013. Yeah, never heard of that
2013. That's all right. We got you 1-1. Here's your next one. This one, you should get this one here with all the kids in your house. Bear lives with several of his Muppet friends. Every day, Bear uses his reassuringly shaggy presence to help solve problems and explore a different topic of the day.
Blue?
That is definitely blue. Bear in the Big Blue House. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Here's your next one. A new FBI profiler has her entire life uprooted when a mysterious criminal who has eluded capture for decades turns himself in and insists on speaking only to her.
Black.
That is black. Yes, that is the Blacklist. It's been on since 2013 and still going today. I've never watched that show, but I hear it's pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I'm familiar with it though.
Yeah, okay. Show number 5. This dramatized World War II adventures of U.S. Major Gregory Pappy Boyington and his U.S. Marine Attack Squadron.
I'm going to go with black again.
That is correct. Baba Black Sheep. Ever heard of that show?
Never heard of it.
Really? I've heard of it. I never watched it, but yeah. It's an old show from the 70s right there, 76 to 78. But you guessed right.
Hey, multiple choice. Your answers, you got good shot. 50-50.
Yeah, you got 50-50 chance in it, black or blue, all right? Here's your next one. We've got a few more here for you. Families of different backgrounds find out what it's like to switch lives.
Is it black again?
That is black again. It's called Black White. 2006 show. All right. Still doing pretty good here. Let's get down here to your next one. Your next one here is single mother Janine Lewis struggles with the problems of bringing up 4 children while leading her team of detectives in solving high-profile murders.
Rolling the dice. Blue.
Yep, you came up 7s on that. Blue Murder. 2003 to 2009. Yeah, these are all shots in the dark. I know. I know. But you're doing good. You're doing good. All right. Last couple here. Bernard Black. I probably gave it away there. Bernard Black runs a bookshop through his customer service skills. Though his customer service skills leave something to be desired. He desires Manny as an employee. Fran runs the shop next door. Between the 3 of them, they have many adventures.
Black.
Yeah, I think that.
Appreciate the assist.
Yeah, that's a clue there, right? Black Books. Black Books 2000 and 2004. And here's your last one. Chief, Kate is a survivor of genocide and her adoptive mother, an international lawyer, faces a case that shakes their lives.
Blue.
That is incorrect. Black Earth Rising. Looks like my man John Goodman, remember from what was he on? Roseanne. Yeah.
She's an excellent actress as well. I don't remember her name, but she's up and coming.
Yep. But hey, you did pretty good on that. You got more right than you got wrong. So let's call you the winner
All right. That's all we do down here in Texas, the great state of.
That's all you do is win, right? All right, Chief, I appreciate you for coming on. Before I get you out of here, we'll have some words of wisdom, something we can leave the viewers and listeners with.
I really just want to speak to my community and just say, hey, we're excited to open this school year. We've been preparing all summer to receive your kids, to open school safely, and just know that you're in good hands. You know, when you drop your kids off to school, they're going to be safe. They're going to be safe, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that that's the case. So we're excited to see you August 10th.
August 10th, right around the corner. All right, Chief, I appreciate you for coming on, and you be safe out there and can continue to do good things out there in Klein ISD.
Thank you. It was an honor. And again, let me know if you ever need anything. I had a lot of fun, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, sir. You take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, brother.
Well, Black and Blue fam, that's a wrap for this installment of the Black and Blue podcast. I want to thank Klein, Texas ISD Police Chief Marlon Runnels for dropping in and dropping some knowledge on us. I had a real great time, sir, and hope we can do it again real soon. If you guys enjoyed this conversation too, click that like button on my YouTube channel or rate it 5 stars if you listen to the audio podcast version of the show. I'll be back before you know it with a brand new story from a minority in law enforcement. But till then, y'all know the phrase that pays. Stay black and blue. I'll holler at you. Deuces.
This has been a Maitre D Entertainment presentation.